I guess I will just tell my story here. Maybe I will feel less alone. Yes, I've been to a doctor. My brain is fine. I don't meet the criteria to be labeled as a person with schizophrenia or anything related. They say I may be suffering from some hallucination, but they are having difficulties explaining much else. They only came to the conclusion because it's not normal behavior. I feel crazy, I really do, but I know I'm not. I just can't stand it anymore. Everything started just on a random day a few months ago, in a bathroom stall of all places, when I was trying to hurry up and get out of work. I was alone that day and did not want to stay any longer than I needed to. As I sat, I noticed the crack between the door and the wall, a wide eye staring at me with a face behind it. This, of course, freaked me out because I thought I was alone. The feeling had gone from a quick moment of panic to confused terror when I looked down and noticed that there were no feet. I looked up, still seeing eyes. I didn't want to acknowledge what I saw, so I just started to scroll mindlessly through my phone, distracting myself. About 20 minutes passed and everything was clear. I walked out quickly and made my way home. I didn't have any problems for a while and chalked it up to just me being alone, and my mind was seeking patterns in unusual ways. I continued my life normally until a few weeks went by, and while in bed, my wife accidentally woke me up with a hand landing flat on my face. I turned around facing the bedroom and the bathroom door. There again, I could see it. A wide eye was watching me, with a slight glare of light reflecting off the eye and the face draped in shadow. I couldn't keep eye contact. I did the only thing I could do, and I still feel embarrassed. I hid myself under the covers like a child. I'm a grown man, and here I was cowering under the blankets like a small child. But I just couldn't do it. I can't explain the feeling that came over me. In the morning, I started to call around, trying to make appointments to see what was going on. I mean, it's impossible with what I am seeing unless I was mentally unwell, right? I went through doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, anything and anyone to find answers. The best help I got was a bottle of anxiety meds that was pretty low a dose. They were useless, especially as I began seeing this eye more frequently, and even in public spaces. It just won't leave me alone. A couple of months ago, my wife decided to stay with her grandmother for a while to give me some space, hoping that maybe a break might help me, that maybe my stress is the cause. She was wrong. Now home feels like I'm walking into a nightmare. That eye is peeking from behind my couch, from every crack, from the windows, from behind the tables, even from my cabinets. I snapped and started to put plastic and tape up covering anything that thing could hide behind and peek from. My house looked like I belonged in a psych ward, but I felt relief. I finally went to bed and closed my eyes. I woke up hearing an odd creak, and the doorknob turned, and the door cracked open. This thing won't stop. It gave itself a crack to spy on me with. I can't do anything. Why won't it do something? Why does it just watch me? I think this moment is where I finally gave up. I just stopped trying to avoid it, and I have just lived my life every day up to this point, just seeing him watch me everywhere that I go. I barely sleep anymore. I barely eat. I look down everywhere I go to avoid seeing its eye again. I know it's watching me, and it does bother me, but I'm powerless. I can't stop it. I begged for a psych evaluation, hoping they missed something. Maybe I could be treated for this. I answered so many questions and it went nowhere. They find I have anxiety-induced delusions and increased my current dosage. After a week of taking them, I began to feel relief. The eye stopped following me around. I soon took down all the plastic and tape. I started to relax, even asked my wife when she was planning on coming back. I felt normal again, at least until last week. I was sitting on my couch and I heard a knock at my door. I walked over to the door and saw behind the window a shadowy face with the strained eye wide open staring at me. It's back. I can't believe it. I let it lure me into a false sense of security. Everything I did and felt was what it wanted me to do, just so it could strip it away. I can't handle this. I don't know what else to do. Please, I just need someone to make me feel less crazy. I know I'm not insane. I just need to feel it. I need confirmation. I need to feel like others don't see me as that crazy guy that needs to be institutionalized. I just want to feel normal. Oh shit! The final words the cup heard as it fell to the ground after sliding across my desk, having been hit by a careless and forgetful hand, specifically my hand. I always put my cup of water to my left as I sit down, but on this particular day, I had placed it on my right, a seemingly small, insignificant decision which would have had no impact on anybody's day whatsoever, unless you instinctively assume the space to your right is empty, as it usually would be, and therefore allow your mind to ignore any object that may be there, which is exactly what I did. I looked down. I heard no impact hit the floor, nor did I see anything there. The motion of movement hurtling downward seemed to have fizzled from existence as I paid attention. For a moment, I almost considered that it may have been a false movement from the corner of my eye, a fault of my mind's design, seen every day by everyone. But no, I had definitely felt and heard my hand hit something. A simple glance at my desk, both sides, confirmed that my cup had left the surface. I stood up, checking under the desk. When that yielded no change, I took a peek under my chair. No cup, no puddle, nothing. A certain unease crept into my senses. It felt like trying to name a song and having the lyrics just on the tip of your tongue, or walking into a room and suddenly forgetting why you're there. I was holding this cup just a moment ago. I should be able to reach out and pick it back up. I know I should. Yet here, at my desk, teetering on the edge of unexplainable, my cup wasn't there. It was, then simply wasn't. What do you even do at that point? You know for a fact that you have spilt a drink all over the floor, yet you can't find it. Do you ignore it or hope it turns up eventually? You're prepared to clean it up, to pick up the broken shards of glass, yet your task is suddenly halted. For what reason? I kept looking wherever I could. The other side of the room? Sure, it could have somehow ended up here. Maybe. The dim lighting played tricks on me, momentarily thinking I had located the cup down the back of the sofa or underneath the table. Each time the relief was short-lived, as it only ever turned out to be shadows playing tricks on my mind. Why do we do that? Why do we find it so easy to mistake one thing for another when we are in a hurry to find it? No rogue splash of water, no shimmer of glass poking from the carpet. Had it slipped from the desk or reality? The cup never showed up. It never will. Neither will the one I dropped the next day or the next. Before this, I don't even remember the last time I had dropped a cup. It's not something I make a habit of, but now it was happening daily. Perhaps my brain, subconsciously so, had locked onto this experience. Perhaps I needn't even wonder. I'd been telling everyone about the strange event, and it had been on my mind a lot. In hindsight, I guess I was aware of how focused on it my mind had become. Each time the cup disappeared, just as it had the first time. Each time, however tightly I held on to it, however careful and mindful I tried to be, it happened. It fell to the floor, the same spot as before. It never hit. After that third time, I stopped bringing drinks to my desk. It seemed to be the only place that this would occur. It fixed the unease growing inside of my mind for a while. Question: what happens if you don't feed a beast? Answer: it goes hunting. I had been sitting at my desk for an hour as I reached to my left for a cup of water. Empty air brushing through my fingers, and my brain, instinctively as ever, had forgotten that I no longer bring drinks to my desk. Getting ready to stand up and go quench my thirst, I was paused by a strange noise. A groan, a rumble, a whine. A mix of all three might be the best way to explain it. It seemed to croak through the house, beneath every floorboard and behind every wall. The silence that followed was as uncomfortable as the sound. Still confused by what I had heard, another one of my senses was thrown off next. A strong, familiar smell, akin to a wet dog, moisture trapped in the air, now filling the house with its aroma. Hearing the noise again, I stepped into the hallway. The smell was weaker here, and the sound suddenly felt distant. I felt again like I was searching for something that wasn't there. I almost considered that my mind was playing tricks on me, but I knew it had to be real. I knew it as well as I know my own name. Turning around, looking back at my desk, I saw it. It may have only been for a short moment, but I saw it. A hole in my floor where my feet had just stood. An opening to a void where I sit and work every single day. The groaning rumble, louder than ever, now accompanied by a rotting smell. I backed away as the world around me transformed. Thick tendrils grew up the walls, oozing a bronze sludge. The floor beneath me seemed to pulse and breathe, causing me to lose my balance. As I fell to the floor, I closed my eyes, trying to imagine myself anywhere else. Feeling liquid dripping onto me from the ceiling made this difficult to achieve. Had I caused this? Was my house alive, or was my floor an entrance to a realm beyond comprehension? Whatever the case, something wasn't happy that I stopped dropping cups of water. The sound of whining, now mixed with a heartbeat, thumps below the floor, and the gentle squelch of the walls coming to life. The air inside this place, which I could no longer describe as my house, seemed to move rhythmically back and forth, swaying one way and the next. My eyes still closed, I could feel hair growing on the floor beneath me, beginning to wrap itself around me, preventing me from moving. I screamed. My scream was all I could hear. I opened my eyes to find myself on my floor. The walls were clean, and the floor had stopped breathing. I went into the kitchen cupboard, and all of my cups were missing. I'm going to buy more after I move houses. I moved into an apartment with my roommate Frankie in upstate New York. The first night we stayed there, I felt uneasy each time I used the bathroom. No, it wasn't because I'm lactose intolerant. It was the first time I stayed somewhere where it had an actual bathtub. I went to the Lush store and bought all types of bath bombs. I was so excited to take my first bath, like ever. I did a lot of shopping, so I ended up getting home pretty late. My roommate Frankie does Uber as his main source of income, which is pretty decent because it's pretty busy out here during the night. So when I got home, he was already out for the night. I decided to test one of the bath bombs. Finally, it was time to dip in. Before I sunk into the bath, I made sure to leave the bathroom door open. For some reason, my brain was telling me to do so. I slowly lowered myself into the warm lavender-scented bath water. I'm lying in the water, listening to a true crime podcast. I noticed the water has went down a significant amount and felt something tickling my toes by the drain. A cold breeze swirls in the room, giving me the chills. Bubbles start forming at the end of the bath by the spout and drain, which was weird as fuck. As I started draining the bath, I noticed the flow is going pretty slow. Once the water is shallow enough to see the drain, I notice there's clumps of hair clogging it. I used the backside of my hairbrush to scoop it out. It was long black hair. Me and Frankie both had short hair. I wake up to Frankie in the kitchen making breakfast. He asked me if I somehow clogged the drain in the bath yesterday with my fancy bath bombs. I told him my bath drained just fine once I scooped out the weird long black hair. He said it was draining slow. I assured him I'll get some Drano later when I go get some groceries. I came home around the same time as I did yesterday, and I noticed Frankie left the bathroom light on. I went in to shut it off and saw the bath was filled with about an inch of water, clogged with the black hair again. He probably took a shower and it didn't drain before he left. I decided to grab the Drano and put the spout of the bottle in the drain and squeeze it, hopefully replace some of the water in there with the ammonia-smelling liquid. When I did that, the bottle shot up out of my hand and landed by the toilet. I jumped back, shocked at what just happened. I looked in the drain just to see the hair slowly seep up from the drain. Maybe the pressure made the hair of the previous owner come up, but it kept coming up and up. It looked like a wig at this point. Then I saw it, an eye looking up at me between the hairs from the drain. I woke up from the couch to Frankie in the bathroom screaming. It was still dark out. Why was he home so early? I looked at my phone and it was 2:59 a.m. I got up and slowly walked to the bathroom. The door was cracked open. I peered in and saw his shadow through the shower curtain. I asked him if he was okay. He replied, "Yes, why wouldn't I?" I told him how I just heard him scream. He said I must be hearing things. I leaned against the sink and told him it must have happened in my sleep. I explained the weird dream I had about the drain having hair gushing out and the eye looking back at me. Then I heard the front door open and Frankie mumble under his breath, "Slow fucking night." I looked over in horror at the shower curtain and slowly pushed it aside. As I did, something fell into the water. As I looked down, it was a ball of black hair floating in a swirl. I ran out, and Frankie looked confused on why I looked so horrified. I explained what happened, and he thought I was pulling a prank on him. As he went into the bathroom, I stood a few feet away from the door. He looked in the bath and said, "Wow, what kind of bath bomb did you get? It turned the water pitch black. Dope as fuck." I told him to step away from the tub, that I didn't use a bath bomb, nor filled it with water. Again, he thought I was playing a prank and put his hand in to unplug the bath to drain it. I stood there confused, thinking I was imagining shit. As I was about to walk away, I heard a big splash. I turned around and Frankie was nowhere to be seen. I looked in the direction of the bath. Slowly, a head emerged. Face was covered by the black hair. What in the grudge type shit was this? I didn't hesitate to start running towards the door. As I flung the door open, there was Frankie, standing about to put his key in. I pushed him aside thinking, was this another trick or some shit? As I ran down the spiral staircase, Frankie's body fell down the middle between the stair railings, slamming into the main floor. I froze. I look up between the railings and see the long-haired woman standing at the top of the stairs, slowly walking down. As I turn to run down the stairs, she's staring right at me in the face.